But England with a very, very lackluster performance, scraping through to halftime with a long throw that turned into an overhead kick from Jude Bellingham to take us to extra time. Kane then able to get on the end of a header with kind of a bit of a weird play in the box, and then holding on to a 2-1 victory against Slovakia. Um, I'm gonna probably get a little heated and let people know what I think because I don't think this should be celebrated or lauded. I don't think we should be giving respect or any sort of props to the character that the England team showed. I think in any other situation, this performance needs to be just massively criticised, and I don't think it's going to be criticised enough because they got through. Now, I'm going to let you go. I've got a few things that I want to say, but you're kind of the neutral here. I know you're kind of rooting for England, but maybe not as much as maybe I am.
I consider it to be a slow death, and I'm gonna keep silent about that. But um, the one thing you can say, Jack, is knockout football, and the result is what ultimately matters. England are through. That's the main thing. But everything we mentioned about England in the group stages is showing us light now. And I can't help but think that Gareth Southgate got it all wrong. And I'm not the biggest point your finger at Gareth Southgate only sort of person, but there's some clear and obvious stuff that I'm like, that shouldn't happen. Rashford, as much as he didn't play well, he should have went, ultimately. Um, you know, I look at the balance of certain areas, and I think that you could do so much better and pick out better players in certain positions. Also, the biggest thing for me that had me worried the most is a manager to me cannot influence a player's decision making on a football field. He cannot influence a player's technique in terms of pass, first touch, mood, all that sort of stuff. What he can influence is three things. Yeah, before the game, no, four things. Before the game, halftime, after the game, and substitutions. Says Fabregas said this. The biggest thing for me was substitutions. The fact that he only brought on two substitutes when you could clearly see England did not look like scoring. England didn't look like scoring. And the fact that England had to score off a long throw, yeah, and a deflected flick on from whoever, and then a crazy, unbelievable finish from Jude Bellingham's cool. But that's players bailing you out, and that's divine intervention there. Yeah,
Well, this
he
this
for me
sorry,
didn't
go
affect the
ahead.
game enough. But he for me as a manager did not affect the game much. And secondly and lastly, to me, let's stop talking about these English players that there's something special, Jack. I don't. I like. I looked at it and I'm like, Jude scored a goal and fair play to him, puffed out his chest there. But
I
Phil
lit
Foden,
I literally just talked about this in a group chat with a couple of my friends, right? Who would you rather take? Fabian Ruiz and Danny Olmo or Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice?
Jude Bellingham, and Declan Rice.
I don't think we have insane expectations of what this England team should be doing. I really like Fabian Ruiz. Talk to anybody. I think he's amazing. I don't know too much about Danny Olmo, and I haven't seen him play too many games. There's a reason I left Rodri out of that conversation, James, because we know how I feel about how good Rodri is. But the point still remains Spain might be favourites now based on the way they're playing. Georgia, I think, are a better team than Slovakia, too, by the way. And Spain are able to dispatch them quite nicely with the wide talent. Lamine Yamal's a baller. Nico Williams is a baller. But I still think it's an interesting conversation with English players if you put Saka up there, you put Palmer up there, you put Phil Foden out there. I know he's not strictly a winger, but in terms of talent level, we're not dealing with worse. And you hear the names and some of the little chat from the commentators over the course of the game. There's a 37-year-old Germany's second division fullback starting for Slovakia. I think you and I might disagree on this. I still think the Champions League is the highest level of football. I think international football is a step down from Champions League level football. That's just my own personal opinion. I think you see the caliber of players that play even in quarterfinals, semi-finals for some teams. You go, who's that guy play for? What's his deal? Blah blah blah. Whereas Champions League final, to me, to a certain extent, it's the best 22 players in the world over the course of a season from time to time. But I think the performances have to be better. James, I'm kind of done with Harry Kane starting for England. I'm kind of done. I'm kind of over it at this point. I don't see anything now in the last 3, 4 games or so, or anything that I'm gonna see in the World Cup in America in 2 years' time that makes me go, that's our guy, that's our number 9 going forward. I'm kind of done with Kyle Walker at fullback for England as well. And I really like Kyle Walker. I think he's a fantastic leader, a really great pro, and he still has that physical ability to get back and get after people, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. Um, Declan Rice, you and I spoke on the phone earlier. James, he hides. He hides in possession, and I don't like it. And you and I know how you can kind of be sneaky about that and not show for the ball. You kind of stay glued to somebody who's marking you. But you and I both know if you can get behind the back of somebody who's supposedly marking you, you can fake one way, you can go another way, and you can show for the ball, receive the ball, and then move the ball along. Um,
Easy creating passing lanes to receive the ball, basically.
yeah, and I don't think he is. And when he is, he's moving to basically where the other centre back is and just receiving it as a sideways pass. You and I also talked about this. I don't think Stones or Gahey are comfortable making those 25, 20, 30 yard on the ground passes. Bellingham showed for the ball a lot. It's a high degree of difficulty pass to be able to really zip it in past Mainu and Rice and straight into the feet of somebody like Bellingham or somebody like Foden, but they didn't have the confidence to make it. Kieran Trippier can't play left back again. I realize I'm just kind of vomiting at you here. And James, I think we have to
But
find. Go ahead.
I think you're a bit harsh on Kieran Trippier. I felt like he was actually one of England's best performers, but
Okay.
I guess having to make a change and having to be a bit offensive, get that. My biggest thing, Jack, for me is I watched two top teams play. I missed the Switzerland Italy game, but I watched Germany play. I watched Spain play. Each team knows what every player is doing. Yeah, every player has a defined role and they do it to the best of their ability. They have a style. Spain, they went 1-0 down, Jack. And even me, granted it was a 20-minute little burst, I didn't panic because Spain were creating so many opportunities. I said at some point they're gonna find it. Jack didn't walk around. They walked away. What 4-1 winners. Jack with England, it's like I don't know where and how to press. I don't know where we're trying to set our traps. Yeah, in possession, how are we really trying to work it? Because Phil Foden to me right now, Jack, he's just going about the place and just picking
James,
up any position. It's just free
I'm
fall.
I'm done with him in any
But
shirt
but
apart from a Man City shirt. Done. Totally
but
done.
Jack, I'd be to me, it's like I get it. You want a free roll, but it's a free roll with no real purpose because he's
No,
honestly just picking the ball up in positions and oh yeah, nice defeat, but it's nothing where you're going to look at. Oh, Phil Foden just played a nice through ball. Phil Foden created crazy opportunities. It's the exact same thing with Jude. I thought Jude was picking the ball up in places where he couldn't really affect it.
in
The
in his
game,
own
you
half
know.
off the centre backs. Can I just so with Phil Foden, okay, I've only seen him do it properly for Man City, and that's fine. You got Pep Guardiola holding your hand. You got Rodri in behind you. You got Erling Haaland in front of you. You got the likes of a Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne. This great defensive line that's been assembled with like the most expensive player in each defensive position there for you. In 38 appearances for England, and that includes friendlies, by the way. And keep in mind, James, each of these 38 games are not France, Belgium, we're not playing the elite of the elite every time. A lot of these are
Hmm.
qualifying matches against the likes of San Marino and the like, right? Phil Foden has 4 goals. Phil Foden has 8 assists. That's in basically 38 games. That's a Premier League season amount of games. 4 goals, 8 assists for England internationally against those kinds of caliber of teams. I'm done. I'm over it for him. I really am. He can't have his hand held anymore in a Man City system. I don't want him starting. think he's a great option off the bench if somebody like Bellingham in the 10 spot or Palmer in the 10 spot is struggling. He can come on, maybe be lively, get a couple of 1-2s together, maybe set somebody up or just try and, try that side foot finish in the box, which he can do. But for England, I'm so over it with Phil Foden. Am I being too harsh? I really don't think I am.
Um, I felt he had a really poor game, Jack. I felt he had a really, really poor game. And forget about he was picking up in areas, just drifting into any area there. But I felt the one thing for Phil Foden was the quality on the ball, Jack. His ability to receive on a half turn, his ability to pick out players 40, 60 yards away. The amount of time I'm seeing hitting over balls, like he's over hitting balls, getting caught in possession, trying to beat a man and not it just hasn't worked. And people, this notion of Phil or Jude, and both of them to me haven't played well. But England at some point are going to have to make a decision on, listen, who's going to play? Because Jack, I don't want to talk about changing the system anymore. We're not going to change the system with a do or die game against Switzerland on our way. We can't. Listen, if they do it, it'll be brave and fair play to them. But it's very hard right now. These players already struggling to understand the system that they're playing now to
But
change the
James,
system all the
it's
way.
it it's a homogenized, easy 4-2-3-1, basically. We're not splitting the atom here and doing some crazy asymmetric football manager 2024 thing. We're playing a 4-2-3-1. It's been a very, very common, incredibly popular formation for 20 plus years now. And to think that there's any sort of like, oh, we've got to kind of adjust and blah, blah, blah. These are supposed to be the best of the best in it for all of these players.
And and Jack, I've been spitting a lot of gargle about the players not knowing what to do. Jack, you're right. I don't. I honestly hate complicating football. I hate it, and I feel like right now we're trying to overcompensate with this whole England team. Yeah, and Roy Keane said it. Stop making excuses. Yeah, stop making the formation. Stop blaming the manager and certain stuff. Stop blaming all that. They're fatigued. They're this. They're that. Just call a spade a spade. They aren't playing well. Harry Kane isn't playing well. Jude Bellingham, fair play with the goal, but overall didn't play well. Yeah, Phil Foden not playing well. Declan Rice not playing well. It's simple. They're not performing, and they may find it hard to handle the pressure and the expectation of what the country perceives this team to be. Because this country perceived this team to be this all-world conqueror team who's better than Spain 2018 to 2008 to 2012. Yeah, that's what
No,
they perceive this England team to be, which they are not. You know,
no, no matter how good or bad England are over the course of my lifetime, England are a quarter-final minimum football team. And seriously, when I say don't care how good, don't care how bad, I'm saying England at their worst in terms of talent should still be finishing in World Cups and in Euro competitions at least eighth. That to me is the minimum standard. The history, infrastructure, money, population, training, all that stuff, that's the bare minimum. Now, there's an argument to say they've achieved that now, and fair enough, okay. But I think the expectation is there for a reason. We're dealing with a kind of a different caliber of talent pool here. And to me, the frustration is Gareth Southgate is an appalling manager, appalling, right? And again, I think England and the squad and the vibe and the relationship with the fans needed to be massively improved when he came in. And he has done that. Players enjoy playing for England, right? Players like going to the thing. There's a better vibe around it. There's a much better relationship with the media. But again, the talent pool there is now to a point where you go, right, semi-finals and finals to a certain extent aren't good enough. The only thing I think that England fans are going to accept or tolerate is losing in a final to a Spain, a Germany, or a France, where they on the day are better than England. I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I was kind of okay with England going out in the semis to a legitimately better team, but that is kind of the new expectation. Anthony Gordon
but
needs to start. We need to see what Luke Shaw's doing. Cole Palmer has to be in this team somehow. Foden's got to go. I want to see Watkins or Tony ahead of Kane. And I'd love to see somebody like either Trent or Trippier actually playing as right back for a change. Very, very disappointing. And you know what kind of bothers me? The win, right? It gets England kind of off the hook and it lets Gareth Southgate off the hook. Slovakia deserve to
100%,
go through. Slovakia deserve to
100%.
go through. No questions asked.
And if another day that shot, that wonderful shot that my man had, that from the half line, if that goes in, it's just, we're looking at the game completely different. But now, Jack, England have a problem on their hands because that performance that they just put out today, the way these players are playing, it won't cut it against Switzerland. I can almost guarantee you that. I can almost guarantee you that Declan Rice, Phil Foden, Jude Bellingham, all these guys are going to have to pick it up because players like Granit Xhaka and Bolo's going to be there. Shaqiri might even pop up and start. They're going to be there, Jack. And like that team legitimately have beaten some of the best teams in Europe in the last couple of years. In the last Euros, Jack, they knocked out France. Yeah, usually in these in these sort of competitions, they're a quarterfinal team at minimum. Yeah, they have players that can legitimately hurt England, and if England are not on it, yeah, offensively, I guarantee you this: there's at least 1 or 2 goals going in on the other end. In transition, they will get caught, and I won't be surprised if also England get dominated in possession somehow. So they're gonna have to buckle up because they're gonna have a serious ride in that quarterfinal, Jack.
My only hope, and I say this all the time about England, I've said this for a long time with England, only hope is that when a team really comes at you, right, and doesn't play with a low block and really kind of comes after you, what are England going to do and how are England going to play? Today, Slovakia came at England. First 15, 20 minutes, Slovakia were up at, there was no low block happening in those first 15 minutes. And Slovakia scored. Now, it's Slovakia. So, of course, they went back to a low block then after that, and we were back to the same old story. My concern is that any optimism that I have when a team comes out and actually tries to go against England, I think, oh, there's going to be more space. Maybe we'll be able to do something on the break. We can do all this kind of stuff. Against a team like Slovakia, we conceded and then began to struggle for the rest of the football match. I'm really worried about this Switzerland game. I know the history's on our side in this respect and all this kind of stuff. And James, it's a bit of a cliche on this channel. The team's got to play well at some point, right? When's it coming? When's it coming? Still getting results while playing badly. Maybe they'll play well at some point going forward. Guys in the comment section, sound off. You know my thoughts. Kane, Walker, Foden, maybe even Rice out. I want them gone. I want to try something else.
That's
Try some
probably
other
not going to
people in
happen.
there. Gareth Southgate gone. Even in this
Probably not gonna.
midpoint, let's get him gone. Guys, let me know your thoughts below. How did we manage to avoid an Iceland part 2? Drop a like on the video if you've liked what you've seen. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already, and keep it here with me and James for more Euro 2024 videos. See ya.